This is episode 2 of Inside Voices. What are we talking about, Hon?
Today, we're chatting about the rise of corporate memes and the use of memes for escapism.
So we're going to look at what is a meme, where do memes come from, but what in particular is a corporate meme, and the rise of brands using memes in their marketing. And then we're also going to maybe treat you to a bit of info on how RBH are using memes.
And we love a meme.
Meme.
Memes.
Meme.
The meme.
A meme gem.
The meme queen.
Live, laugh, meme.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. So, we've done a bit of digging. In the context of the internet, are cultural symbols or ideas that spread virally from person to person. So whether that's a video, an image, text, GIF. But it's got to be characterised by humour, satire or references to shared experiences. So that's things we've all seen, we've all watched, moments from TV, moments from the internet that have spread so wide, we've all seen, and we all know they're really funny.
And that virality is the super important aspect of that. And I think in a bit we're going to talk about how that has informed like social channels today, the shareability, the virality, how important that is to platforms.
And I think memes are now their own language, and that's informed the way we use the internet and social media platforms now. Definitely.
They are the language of Gen Z and millennials on social.
And even when we looked at the history of memes and the beginning of the meme, the definition was units of cultural transmission.
Yes, units of cultural transmission. And I think that is in a biological sense. In 1976, a scientist, Richard Dawkins, famous evolutionary biologist, didn't think we'd be talking about him today, but he is the man that described them as that way. And we were just saying how that really describes today's internet meme. It is a unit of cultural transmission.
Yeah, I think that definitely applies now. The unit is the meme.
It sounds grosser than it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are transmitting culture to each other.
Do you meme?
Yeah, I definitely meme. I meme in my private life. Oh God, why do I feel like I'm confessing a crime? But we also meme professionally, which is what we're going to talk about a lot today with corporate memes and what we mean by that and how brands use them, how we use them for clients. But yeah, I love a personal meme. When I get one, I feel precious, I feel thought of, I feel considered. I especially love it when I get ones from my friends, whether it's like old ladies drinking wine, and then they're like, this will be us in the retirement home.
I definitely use memes on the daily. And I definitely use them for escapism. I think at the end of the day, when you're doom scrolling and you shouldn't be, it gives you that escapism and that release of tension.
In a different way, we're often having to convince clients that we think a meme will convey what they want to say for their brand. A couple of years ago, we probably wouldn't have done that.
The average millennial looks at about 30 memes a day, and 50% of 13 to 35-year-olds send memes every week. So, average millennial, would you say you consume up to 30 memes a day? That seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot. I think I do. I think you're doing it without even knowing,
realising
what makes a meme now. Like we were saying in the beginning, like a text, an image, a video. That video element has meant that like the majority of content we're seeing on social could be classified as a meme. So in that way, like, yeah, I'm definitely seeing more than 30 memes a day. It's a little bit different for us because obviously we're working in this sphere. We are intentionally consuming so much content.
Under video, meme is the second most consumed format.
Yeah.
So video is number 1, memes number 2, which does not surprise me.
And then I think what you've said before about TikTok being arguably, you could just call it a meme channel.
They just go hand in hand.
Yeah, and that video then that's going out, if we're categorising memes underneath video, well, actually, are they kind of crossing over with that video content? If it's really like shareable, what we'd call like a meme, it's still video. So yeah, memes are everywhere.
And we love it.
Hon, do you find yourself doom scrolling?
Yes. But I don't see it as doom scrolling. That's got a lot of negative connotations. I don't see it as doom scrolling. I think it's a form of escapism. The way anybody does an activity to take their mind off things, you can sit and look blankly at your screen
Is that a TikTok thing? Is it an Instagram Reels? I feel like it'll be
more
TikTok.
of a TikTok thing, yeah. But I feel like that is where the content like Sylvanian family drama videos come in. And maybe that's why brands have picked them up, because it's the stuff people are watching. But yeah, and I think that's why the silliness comes into it, especially when TikTok first blew up in lockdown. I think it was around before then, wasn't it? But when the TikTok platform blew up over lockdown, their whole purpose was to spark joy or spark emotion from people. The audience were looking, like purposely searching for that dose of joy or silliness or wholesomeness, and I feel that runs through even now. That's why you make a TikTok, is to start a conversation, to kick off a discussion, to find that spark of joy.
Yeah, I feel like memes are such a source of joy in so many ways, but we have touched on as well like this element of them being maybe a form of attack or bullying. Like we would definitely want to stay away from that stuff. Like there have been like trends before where I've maybe flagged them for a client and been like, should we jump on this? And you'll be like, actually I've seen XYZ like speaking really negatively, and we would always stay away from that. A, because we're not kids, and B, because we find that like negative content doesn't perform as well as positive stuff anyway.
Yeah, if it's purely fun and purely silly and it's light-hearted and it's in good humour, and we wouldn't want to post that on a brand social page anyway. We wouldn't want to post anything negative. That's the stuff that resonates with people.
The joy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was TikTok in its prime, before the real surge in brands getting on there, before there were quite so many ads. Like we see glossy ads on TikTok now. We never used to see that.
Yeah.
So we don't have to be doom scrolling. We can.
No, it can be joy scrolling.
Joy scroll.
Yeah.
In our research, we saw something like it was COVID and the like incoming Teams overhaul that really introduced those corporate memes in work hours. The corporate meme as an entity in itself being a like cultural comment on work.
Yeah, it all sort of kicked off on LinkedIn, didn't it, when everyone was working from home?
COVID changed LinkedIn in so many ways, and one of those definitely was the memification of like work on LinkedIn. Yeah.
And you didn't have that in-person workspace where you were seeing each other, and maybe LinkedIn became that communal place where you could all still communicate and relate to each other.
Yeah,
so
that's so interesting, because like back in the day you would not have been posting memes on LinkedIn the same way that you just wouldn't post a personal post on LinkedIn in any way, and now we're really used to seeing that. We're really used to seeing brands try to cut through with their memes on LinkedIn.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry situation.
Yeah. Which was definitely COVID.
Yeah. The prime example of making light out of a really bad situation.
Yeah. I would say definitely right place, right time for a LinkedIn meme.
Definitely. It's a fine line as well, is it? How far can you push it for it to go really unprofessional?
Yeah. Are we like infantilizing our conversation by just doing this? Are we not saying like things that are really important because we're sending them through memes instead?
Maybe. Or does it bring us closer because do memes bring us together? Because you're having that day-to-day contact. Like, you might not be seeing each other, and you might have friends across the country or across the world. Yeah. You might not be saying a lot, but you're actually saying a lot without using your words. So even when you were saying, it makes you feel special. Yeah,
I totally agree. Memes do make you feel like you're part of an exclusive club, especially the more niche they are and the less part of the like mainstream. If you understand something your friend is conveying to you through a really quirky meme, you feel really great.
It's kind of like the online version of an inside joke, and that moment of feeling seen and heard, which I think is where brands come in with it. And that's the avenue where brands can come and refine it and get in on the conversation.
Yeah, which I love, and I'm very responsible for professionally. We have made this a big part of our content strategy for RBH, for clients. We're using organic, meme-style content, even in ad campaigns, and we're seeing really great results. I do think there's potentially a bubble there that could burst, because as soon as the grown-ups or the brands gets involved in these kind of niche underground, what would have been like community culture, and then professional brands are coming in, are they going to ruin the meme?
Yeah.
Is the meme over?
As soon as a brand starts to capitalise on subcultures, is it over?
Yeah.
Is it a slow decline? We've peaked, and
the cool
now
is gone.
Everyone's jumped on the bandwagon.
Yeah. It's like when your parents went on Facebook in
and
2010.
now no one's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Wow, that's such a lie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, Facebook. We know you're massive. I mean, TikTok has become very mainstream itself now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Memes are becoming quite big on Threads as well now, we've seen.
Yeah.
That relatability element, I think, comes through again.
Yeah, we're finding a really nice like community on Threads, and definitely like bringing memes into that content strategy and video in general.
Corporate memes definitely have their place, especially in the agency.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, especially the bleed onto TikTok of memes, meme culture. The first video to go viral on our TikTok was the sad hamster meme for the corporate girlies.
Yeah.
And that hit such a niche.
It just went massive, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, so I think maybe there's some people using corporate memes in their personal life as like an SOS call, like you either laugh or you cry. And then definitely from an RBH content strategy point of view, we've taken that corporate idea and tried to like lift the lid on agency life, create this relatable, humorous content.
Self-awareness from brands.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think for so long brands have taken themselves so seriously on social, like on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely back in the day, like you'd maybe have like, I don't know, one chance in a million to make something that like just because you thought it was going to be funny, or just to take the mickey out of yourselves and show that you're not taking yourself seriously. And now TikTok has become the home of that. Being silly is definitely a key part of the RBH strategy.
But it's not also just to be silly, it's because we know it drives engagement.
Yeah, and silliness drives creativity.
Yeah.
Like, we play on our TikTok channel, we show what we can do, we show who we are, I think arguably better than any other channel, because we're allowed to have that space to not take ourselves so seriously.
Yeah, it's great to see other brands and agencies doing it as well. And I think because social was very polished at first, and you had your Instagram filters, but is that because we've come from traditional marketing materials, your billboards, your editorial pieces, your big brand campaigns?
Yeah.
It's so difficult to do a 180 instantly if it doesn't make sense for the brand, if the brand's never done that before. It's hard to see the vision sometimes. Yeah, and
I think it was really hard at the start to convince clients to take that leap on like more meme style content, particularly on TikTok. But we are starting to see some really good results now where clients have let us capitalise on organic meme style content. Yeah, and it's totally understandable why people that have worked for these brands and clients for so long sometimes can't see it, and I'm not scared to use memes, but I think there's an element of trust in an agency to run with it because it might not work. No, it has to be right, it has to be nuanced, it has to like be thought of in a nuanced way. We have to consider what the client this would be appropriate for and what we wouldn't. So, Tash, when we're looking at how brands use memes, what is the general consensus? Why should brands be using memes as a strategy? They're a form of content that they can use in this day and age where organic reach is so like famously hard to achieve. They are something that they know is going to cut through like on a self-awareness and humour level. They are much more likely to be engaged with because there's a humorous element to them. The wilder they are, and maybe the more unhinged and silly, which are all words that we love, actually the more likely they are to cause people to stop scrolling. And we've kind of ended up in this very strange moment in social where everything is about competition for views and getting people to stop scrolling. As well as scroll stopping, everything on social at the moment is about like shareability. TikTok's algorithm is all based on that, and now we're seeing it come through on Instagram as the most important metric after views. So people know that relatability of the memes is going to make them more likely to be shared, and that when brands can do it properly and not cringe and not inappropriate and not in a like, oh my god, why the hell are these people saying this because it's so inappropriate for their campaign, if they can get all those things right, they are a really valuable tool for brands.
We found on an article online that 60% of consumers are more likely to purchase from a brand that uses memes.
We're a little bit unsure about whether we believe that stat, whether it is that high, but we've
relate memes directly to conversions.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen campaigns where we have, and there are campaigns where we can see that they've had an enormous effect on awareness. Maybe we can't track that through all the way to the final lead, but definitely we've seen like using more organic or meme style content in meta ads has definitely increased leads. So when you put all of that together, it's really not surprising that brands want to jump on them. What we do need to be careful with, I think, is things like when we get into the political landscape, and there's so much to talk about on this subject, but we saw it this year in 2024 with the general election. It was like penned to be the first TikTok election. It was basically the Labour Party versus the Tory Party, and it was juicy.
Yeah, and that's,
and cringy.
I suppose, because the voting generation now, us guys and slightly younger, that's how you speak to us, is online. We're not digesting news via the paper anymore. We've seen the absolute meme gems that were produced from this year's election in the UK. We've got Dawn Butler's 21 Seconds to Go rendition. Unreal.
Loved it.
I don't want to admit how many times we've watched that in the past few months. And then we've also got Suella Braverman's Let Me Think About It.
According to Hootsuite's data, the Conservatives posted at the time 29 TikToks generating 247,000 impressions. Labour had posted 96 times on TikTok and they racked up 2.3 million impressions. I mean, it doesn't surprise me because it fits the Labour Party's... Well, it fits what they were doing in, like, running up to that election anyway. They got previous of doing that. I don't actually personally know whether the Tories did. I am basing this purely on 21 Seconds versus the horror that was Suella.
Let me think about it.
If we try and be completely non-biased, do we think it's acceptable, admirable, genius for these political parties to be using memes? Should they be using memes to talk to the electorate? Yeah. Or is it just...
Is that crossing the line? Should you be taking the mick?
I mean, for me, it's not, because like we've just said earlier, memes are the language of Gen Z and millennials on social. Their insights are telling them, these are the people we want to reach, these are the people we need to get to vote. Talk to them through self-aware, humorous content, so it makes perfect sense. For me, it all kind of like leads back to the 2017 election, I want to say, when Jeremy Corbyn was on stage at Glastonbury and people were chanting his name. Like that connection to the younger generation was so powerful, and this feels like a continuation of that. It's talking to young people in the language they speak. That does lead us on as well to US election, and I can't believe we've got this far through the podcast without mentioning the B word, but it was a brat summer. We're entering Broughton.
It was Kamala's brat summer.
It was Kamala's brat summer. Charlie XCX herself, who obviously released her Brat album this summer, it took over everything. It was the meme of the year. I'm going to say that even though 2024 is not over. She declared Kamala to be brat.
It is official. Collins Dictionary word of the year is brat. The dictionary calling it a cultural phenomenon that has resonated with people globally.
I mean, there's so much to talk about, but... Do we think that was a good move?
Seems to be resonating.
At a time that they really needed to switch the momentum. So I read an article about this as well, which was really interesting. And the article took it like, so obviously Biden said he's not going to run. Kamala said that she'd be running instead. And then like, I think that evening or the next evening, Charlie XCX posted Kamala as brat. They made it seem like that was purely like, Charlie just posted that. And I wonder, because I don't know, I haven't looked at this, I wonder if that was an authentic, organic post from Charlie, or if the teams had spoken from a like PR move.
Yeah, I was thinking
because it's
this.
like PR you can't pay for.
Yeah, and also the parallels between Kamala running as a black woman to Brat being about empowering women.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an organic and
Yeah,
that's a really close parallel.
yeah, she is
Surely.
Brat.
Also, it's great to see her team let whichever Gen Zer it is take the lead on the content and the strategy for that. I know there'll be multiple people behind it, but it's good to see the trust.
What are some other brands that are doing it really, really well?
First one that comes to mind is Marc Jacobs at the minute. I'm thinking the Nara Smith collab that went live recently, they fully lent into her creative control. But also, when it comes to Marc Jacobs, their adoption of Sylvanian family videos, which I was looking up earlier this week and found out that the Sylvanian family drama TikToks that are huge and have been huge for a couple of years were created by a 21-year-old Irish girl in her bedroom.
I was going to say it has to be in her own bedroom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like all the great works of art.
We were looking at the views that has got, and it's absolutely mental.
Yeah, they are huge.
How do you pair a fashion brand, a high fashion brand, with Sylvanian family collectibles?
It's amazing to see that high art of high fashion embrace this sense of self-awareness and not taking themselves too seriously, because we don't see it that often. So I think as well, if you're a brand and you know that your competitors don't do something and that no one else is doing it, just do it, try it, because you, in this day and age, if you want to cut through on social, you need to be doing stuff that other people aren't doing. And Marc Jacobs, I think they've proven, I mean, it comes from him himself as well, like he doesn't seem to take himself super seriously, like yeah, I think he if I'm surprised more people aren't following his example.
Yeah, companies like Vogue and brands like Gucci employ Amelia de Moldenberg, Emma Chamberlain to be their press hosts. Online content creators being picked up by massive luxury brands and creating these massive viral moments that you're not going to be able to predict. But I think because they understand the way the internet works, they're going to know what to ask people and produce those spontaneous moments, and it's working. And speaking of fashion brands, we've seen meme influence on some of our clients' posts as well. Yeah,
we have seen a lot of organic success from trying to be as reactive as possible and jumping on the back of trends. And really, this year, the biggest one that springs to mind is Bridgerton, and what the release of Series 3 of Bridgerton did to social. And, like, I mean, they already know what they're doing by splitting that series into two. I think it was the first Bridgerton series they split into two. And so, yeah, we had two very specific social moments for Bridgerton that lasted, like, a couple of weeks at a time. Really bolstered by Nicola Coughlan and how amazing she is.
Yeah, and the presence she has on social.
We made some Bridgerton-inspired content. It became the biggest, like the most liked post that we'd ever done for our client, and it was actually based off the quote that Nicola said about being a member of the Perfect Breasts community. And yeah, I think when we make our audiences feel seen by capitalising on the right cultural moments, we see like results like we don't get off anything else when it's clearly a brand message or a product update or something like that. So yeah, as part of an organic strategy, stuff like that is, what did you say earlier, like a meme gem? It is so valuable to brands.
We've almost sort of worked out the secret formula, haven't we? I mean, I know you can't predict how a post is going to go, but we know if we talk directly to that audience and make them feel seen and heard, we know they're going to.
And that's what
really
social should be. Yeah, like we've tried so hard in the last few years as a social department at RBH to put social back in social. Like, for so long, there was no fun in brands. There was nothing to make you want to follow them, really, except competition posts. Maybe, like, if you love the product, you want to stay focused and following it so you get the latest update. But for us, such an important part of organic is giving people a reason to follow, and memes are a massive part of that. So, speaking of our work and stuff we've done, April this year, we supported with the West Midlands mayoral campaign. So we supported the Labour candidate, Richard Parker. He went on to win. So the agency made some of his assets. And we also worked with them on content for the campaign. And yeah, it became really evident really early on, didn't it, that they really wanted to lean into organic content because they had this insight that they're trying to reach younger voters. So yeah, you make them the content they want to see.
I suppose it follows Labour's suit. They've already set the groundwork, and Richard really wanted to lean into that, which we absolutely loved. So, and he was such a good sport as well. He was the perfect TikTok star.
He was a star.
He was, and he didn't take himself too seriously. He was happy to showcase his personality and then use it for good.
It was amazing as a whole to see a client who years ago we would never have expected a brief like this to come in. It's kind of unbelievable now when we're brainstorming and like we're being like told that we can be as weird or like celebrated for being as weird and silly as we possibly can be. And I mean, maybe that's a bit of a statement on the scope of social as a landscape at the moment, but you have to find out who you are, what you're good at, and what you can apply to content to make it creative.
We've also seen that organic, social native style work across our projects with Birmingham Airport as well.
Yeah, we really have, like our summer campaign and the spring campaign, they definitely stand out.
The star piece of content, meme-wise, it's got to be Irresistible Riz. Nearly 78,000 views.
It did. Not what we would expect, because I think that was the first one that we tested. And yeah, again, I mean, it's just that way of getting into people's For You page, like you say, getting it in front of them, giving them a reason to stop the scroll. And really now, like, you're talking to an audience who are more savvy than ever when it comes to being served an ad. We've all seen every ad format you can possibly get, really. You need to break up the feed. And I think we've tried to do that, and we've seen really good results with Birmingham Airport.
Definitely.
Live, love, meme. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the goodies.
Yeah. That's action, isn't it? That's wrong.
Oh, is it?
I don't know, is that cut?
Wrap.
That's a wrap.